G'day guys, my name's Dave and welcome to another Guitars Already Heroes song tutorial. In this lesson, I'm going to teach you how to play Slow Dancing in a Burning Room by John Mayer on the acoustic guitar. Now I'll teach you two different ways of playing this song in this lesson. The first method's going to be an easy version for the beginners out there who just want some chords to strum and sing along. And the second way I'm going to teach you how to play it is based off John Mayer's live acoustic version at the NAMM show, and that's an incredible performance. Now, if you want to learn how to play the studio version on the electric guitar, I also have a lesson for that. I'll leave a link to it in the description. If you want to master your chords back to front, then be sure to head over to guitarsreadyhero.com to pick up my free guitar ebook. And finally, this lesson simply teaches you one song, but if really understanding and learning the guitar is something you've always wanted to do, but you didn't know where to start, then be sure to check out the Guitars Already Hero Premium course and membership, which gives you all the guidance to play with confidence. I'll leave a link to it in the description. Let's jump into the lesson. Okay, so I'm going to start by teaching you the easiest way of playing this, and this is designed for beginners who just want an easy way to strum and sing along to this song. In the second half of this video, I'll teach you how John Mayer plays this live based off his 2021 NAMM show performance, and that's definitely catered more towards intermediate to advanced players. Let's start with a couple of lead-in notes to start the song off before we dive into the chords. It's pretty simple. We're going to take our ring finger, put it on the 4th fret of the 4th string, hit this, and slide up to the 6th fret. And then we're going to take our middle finger here and hit the 5th fret of the 2nd string. And it's as simple as that, and that's on the 4 end beat. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then we'll dive into the chords. So the intro and verse chord progression just has 3 chords. It's really simple. Our first chord is a C sharp minor. And from the lead-in lick, we already have 2 of our fingers in place. So all we need to do is put our index finger now onto the 4th fret of the 5th string and pinky finger on the 6th fret of the 3rd string. We'll leave the 1st string open, and this is our C sharp minor. Now when you play the C sharp minor, be sure to mute the 6th string as well. And I can do this by lightly touching the 6th string with my index finger. The very tip of it is touching that 6th string as I'm fretting the 4th fret of the 5th string. So that way when you strum all the strings, only the strings you want to ring out will ring out. Then we're going to play an A chord. So you can play a regular A chord if you want, but I'm going to play this A chord because it's a simple shift up from the C sharp minor. We're going to keep our ring finger on the same string and just shift that up to the 7th fret of the 4th string, middle finger on the 6th fret of the 3rd, and index finger on the 5th fret of the 2nd string. Again, we're leaving the open 1st string ringing, and we're going to hit the open 5th string along with this chord as well. So again, we don't want that string ringing out, and to do that, I just have my thumb over the top to lightly touch that 6th string. So that's our A chord. And then finally an E major chord. Now in terms of strumming pattern for the C sharp minor, here's my suggested strumming pattern. It's a 16th note strumming pattern that goes like this. Down, 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 up, down, up, down, up, down, up. Or 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a. Note that these strumming patterns are just suggestions, so feel free to improvise yourself. As long as it fits within the 16th note framework, then it should sound fine. So that's the C sharp minor. When we go to our A to our E, these 2 chords are contained within 1 bar of music, and my suggested strumming pattern is down, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. And the change occurs on the end beat after the 2, which would sound like this. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a. So together with the little lead-in lick, this is what the verse progression will sound like. I'm just going to play that progression through twice, but in the actual song, you want to play it through 4 times as well as for the verse. 1, 2, 3. Next we get to chorus 1 and 2, and there's 3 lines of chords here. We're going to start with the B sus4, which looks like this. Now it's the same shape as our C sharp minor, but we're moving everything down 2 frets, and we're also lifting our middle finger so that we are playing open 1st and 2nd strings. Again, we are playing from the 5th string onwards, and you don't want the 6th string ringing out, so just be sure to mute that 6th string. So that's our B sus4, and we're going to play this with the same strumming pattern that we had for our C sharp minor in the verse. For the second bar, we go up to our C sharp minor and then go to our A. And these two chords are contained within one strumming pattern. It's very similar to the A to E in the verse with one little change. I'm basically just removing the down strum on the end beat after the one. And that would sound like this. Down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. Now remember, all of these are just suggested strumming patterns. So be sure to feel it yourself. As long as it fits within that 16th note framework and you're changing chords on the right beat, then it should be fine. So the first line of chords in total. For the second line of chords, it's almost identical, except instead of an A chord at the end, we're going to an F sharp minor 11 chord, which looks like this. So ring and pinky fingers on the 4th frets of the 5th and 4th string, index finger on the 2nd fret of the 3rd, and we're going to leave the 2nd and 1st strings open. Now, ideally, if you can, use your thumb to reach over the top and hit the 2nd fret of the 6th string as well. That's F sharp minor 11. However, if you can't get that thumb, that's okay as well. You can just strum from the 5th string onwards and it'll sound just as good. So the second line of chords. And the third line of chords is our C sharp minor, A to E. And we're using the same strumming patterns as well. So with all that in mind, chorus number 1 and 2 will sound like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now after chorus 1 there's a break, and it's just the same as the intro and verse chords, but the line of chords is played through twice and not 4 times. Then there's verse 2, then there's chorus 2, and then the solo section. So again, the solo section is the same as the break, just our chord progression played through twice. After that we get to chorus 3, and there's 3 lines of chords here. So we're going to start with an F sharp minor 11 and go to a C sharp minor. Now these two chords are within the 1 bar, and we're going to use a similar strumming pattern that we had in our choruses where there's 2 chords within 1 bar. So down, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. And then we go down to our B sus4 and back to our F sharp minor 11. So the first line of chords all together. That line of chords is played through twice, and then for the second line of chords it's almost the same, except for the final chord, instead of going back to an F sharp minor 11, we're going back to our A. So the second bar in the second line of chords. And then the third line of chords is the same as what we have in chorus 1 and 2. So with all that in mind, this is what chorus 3 sounds like. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. And finally, the outro is the same chord progression as the intro and verses. You can play that until the song fades out, like in the studio recording, or what I'll do in the playthrough at the end of this lesson is play that chord progression through 5 times and then end the song with the E chord. So that's a simple version of Slow Dancing in a Burning Room on the acoustic guitar. Now let's dive into the more advanced version, and this is based off how John Mayer plays it in his live 2021 NAMM show performance. For the beginners out there, I will warn you, it's not very beginner friendly. So I would recommend that you're at a more intermediate to advanced level before trying this live version. If you like a challenge, then you're definitely in for a treat. So let's dive into it. Okay, let's start with the intro, and there's 2 lines of chords here. So we're going to start with a few lead-in notes before we get into the actual C sharp minor chord. We'll start with our ring finger here on the 9th fret of the 5th string, and we're going to hit it and slide up to the 11th fret. So slide up, and then with our index finger, put that on the 9th fret of the 3rd string. So that's our lead in, which happens on the 4 beat. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then at this point we keep our fingers where they are. We're going to take our thumb, reach over the top, and use that to hit our C sharp note on the 6th string. So that's 9th fret of the 6th string. Now your thumb doesn't have to reach over a crazy amount in order to grab onto that 6th string and hit that C sharp note. Just by bending your thumb in like that, you'll be able to grab onto that note. So this is our C sharp minor chord. Now you also kind of want to keep your 4th string muted while you're playing this. And you can do that in a combination of ways, but really at the end of the day, we just want the 6th, 5th and 3rd string to be the notes ringing out. So in this position, we'll play it down, 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 up. And then we're going to slide up into this position and just focus on the 11th and 9th frets. Now remember, we want our 4th string muted as we hit this note. And we're going to play a down, up, and then we shift this position down. So ring finger goes to the 9th fret and index finger to the 8th fret. Play those 2 notes, and again we want the 4th string muted. And you can do that by lightly touching it with your free middle finger, or even with your ring finger reaching over the top as it hits the 5th string. And then we go down 2 more frets to 7th and 6th, and then just a muted strum on the end beat after the 4. So this second half in total. And together with the lead in note, the first 2 bars. 1, 2, 3, 4, and... Then we're going to get into an A chord position. So ring finger on the 7th fret of the 4th, middle finger on the 6th fret of the 3rd, and index finger on the 5th fret of the 2nd string. Now what John Mayer does is he actually uses the thumb to hit the 5th fret of the 6th string, and he uses that as the root note. What you could also do, if you want to make things a little simpler, is use the open 5th string instead of the thumb reaching over the top. For the rest of this lesson, I will be using the thumb to play it the same way that John does, but you could just use the open 5th string too if you want. So with this A, we're going to strum this with a down, down, up, down, up. And then we're going to shift down to our E position. So for our E position, slide our ring finger down to the 6th fret, index goes on the 4th fret of the 3rd string, and middle finger to the 5th fret of the 2nd string. With this shape, we also have our open 6th and open 1st string ringing out. Now with this chord shape, it's really important that you mute the 5th string. And to do that, with my ring finger, as I'm fretting the 4th string, I'm lightly touching, I just have it up the tiniest bit, so that's touching the 5th string. And that way you can strum all the strings, and you're just getting this E triaded version and the open 6th and 1st strings ringing out. So really just be mindful and try to mute that 5th string. This is our E chord, and we're going to strum this with a down, down, up, down, up. And for the last little bit of this bar, we're going to take our ring finger from this E shape. We're going to just hit the 4th string and slide it up to the 11th fret. So, and once it's slid up, you have your index finger on the 9th fret of the 3rd string, and we're just going to focus on the top 2 or 3 strings and just lightly strum them. So the final little beat and the bar in total. And that's it for the first line of tab, which sounds like this. 1, 2, 3. So for the second line of tab, we are in this position. So all we need to do to get into the C sharp minor is reach our thumb over the top now to hit our root note. We're going to strum this with a down, down, up, down, down, up. And then we're going to play a lick here. So get your index finger barred across the 9th fret of the 4th and 3rd string. We're going to play a double stop here. So hit the 4th and 3rd string together and hammer your ring finger onto the 11th fret of the 4th string. And then lift it, just hit the 9th frets together. And then on the upstroke, our ring finger will come back onto the 11th fret and all together. Then we're going to shift our index finger so it's barring across the 9th fret of the 5th and 4th string. We're going to do another double stop here, hammering our ring finger onto the 11th fret of the 5th string. With your middle finger, then hit the 10th fret of the 5th string and pull off to the 9th. And then finally on the upstroke, hit the 12th fret of the 6th string with your pinky finger. So the final beat and the lick in total. And the first bar. And then after that, I'm just going to hit the open 5th string as I get into my A position here. So this is a little different to my A position with the 5th fret of the 6th string. I'm just going to hit the open A. I'm going to get into my A triad position and then strum down, up, down. And so far for the A. And then on the end beat after the 2, we go to this E position. Again, make sure that 5th string's muted. I'm going to strum that on the end beat after the 2, and then pick it back up with a up, down, up, down, up, down, up. So the final bar. And the second line of tab in total. And that's everything for the intro in total, which will sound like this. 1, 2, 3. Okay, now let's get to the verse. Now, the verse can be simple if you want it to be, but it can also be a little bit more tricky if you want it to be. So first off, I'll teach you a simple way based off the chords that John Mayer uses. So we're going to start with this C sharp minor that we have used for the intro, and we're just going to strum this with a down, 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 up, down, up, down, 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 up. And then we go to our A and E with the down, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. All together. And you could just play that through 4 times for the verse if you wanted to. But that's not what John Mayer does in his live performance. He adds a few licks here and there, especially with the C sharp minor chord. So let's run through them. Okay, so for the first bar, instead of playing just a C sharp minor like this, he actually plays a C sharp minor 7 by barring his index finger across the 9th frets of the 4th and 3rd string and moving the ring finger up to the 11th fret of the 5th string, like that. So that's C sharp minor 7. So we start with this. And then on the 2 beat, we're going to strum it, but we're going to lift our ring finger and we're going to hammer onto the 11th fret of the 4th string. And we're going to play that with a down, down, up. So down, down, up. And we'll do the same thing, but we'll shift our index finger up so it's on the 5th and 4th strings and do the hammer on with a down, down, up. So back to the C sharp minor 7 effectively. And one more, down, down, up. And all together. And then we go to our A to E with a down, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. So the first line. For the second line of tab, it's the same as that easy version that I showed you, so nothing new to learn there. For the third line of tab, we start with our regular C sharp minor, and we're going to play this with a down, 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 up. And then we're going to move our index finger up so it's barring across the 9th fret of the 5th and 4th string. Do a hammer on to the 11th fret with our ring finger, and then do the same onto the 4th string. And then one more time with a down, up, and so far. And that ring finger will go back to the 11th fret of the 5th string, hit that and slide out. So the lick, and together with the first chord. Now for the second bar here, we're going to start with our A chord, but then we're going to shift up to our next A triad. So this is an A triad in root position. We're going to go to our A triad in first inversion position. And what that basically means is it's the same 3 notes of an A major chord. So A, C sharp, and E, but just in a different order. So we have C sharp, E, and A. It's just a different way of playing those same 3 notes. So we strum this, and then on an up strum, we go up to this position. And then we'll hit 2 muted strums. And then we're going to bar our index finger across the 9th fret of the 5th, 4th, and 3rd strings and hammer our ring finger onto the 11th fret. And this is an E chord as well. It's just an E chorded version. And we're using the open 6th string there. And after that hammer on, we're going to just continue on with a up, down, up, down, up, down, up. So the bar in total. So the 3rd line of tab. The 4th line of tab is basically the same as the 2nd line of tab. So that's it for verse 1, which will sound like this. Next we get to chorus 1, we're going to start with a B chord. So it's similar to our A chord shape, but we're just going to shift that all up 2 frets to the 7th and 9th frets. And ideally, if you can, get that open 1st string ringing out, but it's not 100% necessary if you can't fret that. So we're going to start this on the 1 beat. On the 2 beat, we're going to hit it again and hammer our pinky finger onto the 9th fret of the 3rd string. And then another down up. So the 2nd beat. For the 3rd beat, we're going to start with a strum, but we're going to pull off that pinky finger and then end with a down up. So the 2 and 3 beat. And then for the 4th beat, we'll just continue strumming this chord shape. And the bar in total. 1, 2, and 3, and 4. And then we'll go up to our C sharp minor with a down, up, and then A chord with a down, up, down, up, down, up, down. So the 1st line of tab. The 2nd line of tab is almost the same, except instead of going to our A chord, we're going to go to an F sharp minor 11 chord. So it's the same as our C sharp minor chord shape, but just down at the 2nd and 4th frets. And we're going to let the 2nd and 1st strings ring out as well. And that's our F sharp minor 11. Now with the 5th string, we can just mute that by using our free middle finger here to lightly touch it. So the 2nd line of tab. And finally, the 3rd line of tab, we're just going to go to our C sharp minor, hit it, hold it out for a full bar, and go to the A and E with a down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. After the chorus, we get to the break, and there's 2 lines of tab here. We're going to start with our C sharp minor, but in an altered position. So we'll have our root note with our thumb, but we'll have our ring finger on the 9th fret of the 4th string and our index finger on the 8th fret of our 3rd string. So we're going to start here, and again, you kind of want the 5th string muted here. We'll start with this, and on the upstroke, we'll shift these 2 fingers up to the C sharp minor. And these strums are at 16th notes, so 1, E, and da. So that's the 1st beat. And then after that, we're going to strum this C sharp minor with a down, down, up, down, and then shift our index and ring finger back to the initial position and strum that 1 time. So And then there's a lick. So we're going to bar index finger across the 9th frets of the 5th and 4th string, hit the double stop and hammer our ring finger onto that 11th fret, and then lift it on the upstroke, hit those 2 strings, and then back onto the 11th fret with our ring finger, hit that, slide down to 9th, and then on upstroke, hit the 7th fret, and the lick in total, and the bar in total. And then we go to our A and E with a down, down, up, down, up, down. Similar to the verse. So that's the first line of tab. For the second line of tab, we'll start off in that same position. We'll hit this for the first down strum and then shift into our C sharp minor with the up, down, up. And we'll do that twice. Continue strumming this position until the 4 beat. 3 and the 4. And then muted strums and the bar in total. We'll go to this A inversion shape that we had earlier in verse number 1. And then this alternative E shape, but we'll hammer on with our ring finger onto the 11th fret. So the second line of tab in total. And the break all together. Okay, on to verse 2, and remember for the verse you can just play a C sharp minor, A and E 4 times, and it can be as simple as that. But I'm going to teach you everything that John Mayer does in his live performance for this second verse. We're going to start with a strum on the 1 beat, and on the 2 beat we'll just do a muted strum. So to do the muted strum, you're basically putting the palm onto the strings at the same time as a down strum. And that way you just get a muted sound. So 1 and 2 and... On the 3 end beat, we're going to hit a down, down, up, and then 1 more mute on the 4 beat. So the C sharp minor, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then we have our A and E similar to the first verse. So the first line of tab. For the second line of tab, we're starting with our C sharp minor 7, playing this with a down, 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 up, and then we're going to hammer on our ring finger onto the 11th fret of the 4th string and play a down, up after that. So down, down, up, and then shift our ring finger up. So we're now hammering our ring finger onto the 5th string. So the bar in total. And the second bar is that A and E. So in total for the second line of tab. The third line of tab is the same as the first line of tab. And then for the fourth line of tab, we're going to start with our C sharp minor 7. We're going to strum this with a down, 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 up, down. And then hammer on our ring finger onto the 11th fret of the 4th string, down, and then lift our ring finger with the down, up, and so far. And then we'll hit the 11th fret of the 5th string, slide down to 9th, and on the upstroke hit the 7th fret. And in total for this bar. And then the A to E, so the fourth line of tab. And that's verse number 2, which sounds like this. Again, you don't need to make it that difficult. You can just play C sharp minor, A and E for the whole verse. Next is chorus 2, and it's almost similar to chorus 1 with the exception of the final line of tab. So for the final line of tab, when we get to our C sharp minor, we're not just holding it out, we're going to strum it with a... And then we go to our A to E, but when we go to our E, we're just going to strum it once and then jump into our solo. So the final line of tab. And then we jump into the solo. So we're going to go 9th fret of the 2nd string, 10th fret, go to the 12th and slide up to the 14th, and then back down to 12th. So, and that's it for chorus 2, which sounds like this. Okay, so now we get to the solo / instrumental of this live acoustic performance. So we had that lead and lick. And then on the first beat of the next bar, we're going to hit this 12th fret and then quickly slide down to 9th fret. After that, we get into our C sharp minor 7 position, and we're going to play a down, up, down, 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 sort of rhythmically. So, and then in this position, we're going to bar our index finger across the 9th frets of the 4th, 3rd, and 2nd string. We're going to hit these 3 strings and hammer our ring finger onto the 11th fret of the 3rd and middle finger onto the 10th fret of the 2nd. Like that. Lift them and hit the 9th frets. And then we're going to put our middle finger down to the 10th fret, hit these same 3 strings, but just hammer on our ring finger onto the 11th fret of the 4th string. And then after that, lift our ring finger and hit those same 3 strings. So these hammer-ons. And then we're going to hit the 11th fret of the 5th string and just slide that down to 9th really quickly. And the bar in total. And together with the lead-in notes from the end of chorus 2. Now on the first beat of the second bar, we're going to hit the 7th fret of the 6th string and then slide that down to the 5th. Now this is a little tricky. You could, if you wanted to, just hit the open A string at that point if you want, or just hit the 5th fret of the 6th string. But I'm trying to do as close to what John Mayer does, and what he does is he hits that 7th fret and slides down to the 5th. So after that, we get into our A position and we strum a down, up, and then E chord. And then we go to that lick again, similar to the end of the second chorus. Like that. So in total for the first line of tab. Now for the second line of tab, instead of hitting this 12th fret and sliding down to the 9th, we're going to hit it and hammer on to 14. And then go to our C sharp minor 7 position and hit a down, down. And then there's a lick here where we go 9th fret of the 5th string, hammer on to 11th, 9th fret of the 3rd string down to 8th, 11th fret of the 4th string, then slide from 9th to 11th on the 5th string, up to 9th fret with our index, hit the 11th fret of the 5th string, slide down to 9th, 7th fret, then 9th fret of the 6th string, and then 7th fret of the 6th string with your thumb. And that whole lick in total, and this is played pretty quick, so just take it slow. And the bar in total. Then we go to our A position, but we're also going to put our pinky finger on the 7th fret of the 1st string. So hit the root note, and then we hit the higher end of the chord and slide it up 2 frets back to our original position on the 2 beat. So 1 and 2. And then we slide into our E position and we just going to continuously strum this at 16th notes, but we're going to temporarily just bar our index finger across the 4th frets of the 3rd and 2nd string, just temporarily for 2 strums, and then put our middle finger back down. Just follow the tab below, but it will sound like this. And the bar in total. Okay, so let's recap the first 2 lines of tab together with the lead-in notes at the end of the second chorus. Okay, let's get to our 3rd line of tab, and now things get a bit more rhythmic and a bit more chord based. So we're going to go to our C sharp minor and we're going to strum this with a down, down, up, mute, and then we'll go to this position. So just bar our index finger across the 4th frets of the 4th, 3rd and 2nd string, and we're going to hit this with a up, down, and then get into our E position with the up strum. So mute, up, down, up, and the first half. Now there's a mute on the 3 beat, and then we go back to our C sharp minor position here with the up, down, up, and then quickly shift back to this position with the down, up, down, up. So the second half. And in total. Then we go to our A and E with a down, up, down, up, down, down. With our index finger here, middle finger on the 4th fret of the 1st string, and we're going to hit this with a up, down, up, mute, and shift this down with the up strum, mute, and then open string on the final up strum. So, and the bar in total. And the 3rd line of tab. Then for the 4th line of tab, we go back to our C sharp minor and strum this at 16th notes for half a bar. And then on the 3 beat, muted strum and that lick that we had up here again. And then A to E with a... So the 4th line of tab. And that's it for the solo / instrumental. I'll combine it with the lead-in notes at the end of chorus 2, and they'll all sound like this. Okay, now we get to chorus number 3, and there's 4 lines of tab here. So we're going to start with our F sharp minor 11. We're going to strum this with a down, up, down, up, and then go up to our C sharp minor with a down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. So then to our B, and back down to our F sharp minor 11. So the first line of tab. The second line of tab is the same as the first line of tab. For the third line of tab, it's almost the same, except at the end, we don't go back to our F sharp minor 11. We are going to go down to an A chord. So the third line of tab. And for the fourth line of tab, it's the C sharp minor, strummed at 16th notes, and then our A and E. So chorus number 3 will sound like this. final thing to learn is the outro, and there's 2 lines of tab here. So we're going to start with our C sharp minor shape, and we're going to be strumming this at all 16th notes. Now on the 2 beat though, we will add 1 note, and that's the 12th fret on the 2nd string. So 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and then A to E. So the first line of tab. That's just repeated through 4 times, and then to end the song we have this. So the C sharp minor, and then A, and then end with an E. So that's it for the outro, which is pretty easy. And that's everything for the live acoustic version, the same way that John Mayer plays it in his 2021 NAMM show performance. Again, it's not very beginner friendly. It does take a bit of a toll on your hand, especially because there's so much thumb involved. But it is a fun challenge, and it sounds great once you do master it. So now I'll be doing 2 playthroughs of this song. The first playthrough is going to be based off John Mayer's live acoustic performance, and the second playthrough will be the easy version for the beginners out there who just want a simple way of playing this song. I'll have the vocal track on top for some context. Feel free to play these back as many times as you'd like to practice, play along to, and see how you go. Thanks so much for watching. If you've enjoyed this lesson, then I know you'll absolutely love these other lessons too. So hit the link here, or if you want to grab a copy of my free guitar ebook, then head over to guitarzerotohero.com or click the link here. Thanks so much, and I'll see you guys next time on Guitar Zero to Hero. Cheers.